Enterprise Singapore recently announced its partnership with 500 startups on an accelerator program to help local startups. And the new program is a part of ESG's Global Innovation Alliance in San Francisco.
Joining us tonight with more on this are the Director of Global Innovation Networks at Enterprise Singapore, Jonathan Lim, and Chief Compliance Officer at Arcadier, a local startup company, Kenneth Low. Gentlemen, thank you both for coming in.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Jonathan, I'll come to you first. The acceleration program, 500 startups, tell us how it works.
Right. So 500 Startup is our Global Innovation Alliance partner in San Francisco. And we call Global Innovation Alliance GIA in short. So the aim of GIA is really to connect Singapore to the other startup and innovation ecosystem around the world. The intent, of course, is to create opportunities for Singaporeans, for startups, entrepreneurs, to be able to connect and collaborate with their overseas counterpart. Now, the GIA Acceleration Program really serves to help Singapore startups with market access to the US. And also, at the same time, helping US startups that wants to come to Asia to use Singapore as a springboard. Now, the program is 16 weeks, and it includes components like market immersion, business matching, mentorship. Now, so for a local startup, they would be able to expect a 1-week program in Singapore to prep them, and then followed by a 2-week highly structured acceleration program in San Francisco. And then we also have a 13-week immersion program that will provide ongoing support and mentorship by 500 startups. Now, the application is open, so we want to invite startups to apply.
Kenneth, let's bring you in on the conversation here. You are part of Arcadier. That is you have a software tech company, and you're helping to build a sort of online marketplaces for companies. Share with us your experience of actually venturing overseas, because that must have been quite a challenge.
Yeah, for Arcadier's experience venturing overseas, I think the biggest challenges would be that it's very time-consuming, as well as very resource-consuming. So for any startup going overseas, you have to really understand the business and the tax laws there, especially for tech startups like us. Having an understanding of the intellectual property rights of every market you enter is important. Our recent entry into North America also showed us that we also had to be well aware of the employment market situation there. Currently, the North America, United States has a very tight job situation. So we actually had to be very creative in the way we search for talent, as well as compensation structure. But despite the challenges, venturing overseas is a big growth opportunity for any startup. So for Arcadier, when we launched into the United States, was largely because we saw early traction in our growth and the sheer size of the market. But what was very important for us was to understand that we have to be thoughtful of where the demand is coming from, and more importantly, is it a sustainable demand? Is it profitable demand? So that's the two things that was critical.
And how are you finding this sort of working with Enterprise Singapore then, this sort of collaboration?
The last couple of years has been, Enterprise Singapore has been really helpful for our growth. For instance, when we first mooted the idea of going into United States a couple of years ago, and Enterprise Singapore actually connected us with a Singaporean founder of a very successful US startup. So we had a very honest conversation with the individual in the Silicon Valley, and there was a lot of insights and honest feedback he gave us. We actually had to delay our go-to-market that time because we didn't have all our pieces together. So over the years, in terms of tracking our progress and understanding where we need to go into the United States, Enterprise Singapore has always been there for us. Yeah.
So Jonathan, not all startups are able to participate in this particular scheme. How can we transfer knowledge from these experiences back to Singapore and Singapore-based startups?
Yeah. By the way, besides the GIA Acceleration Program, 500 Startup will also offer service offerings such as legal, accounting services, mentorship, business matching. So startups do not have to be in the program to be able to enjoy and participate in those service offerings that foreign startup has to offer. So in a way, we are trying to reach out to a wider pool of startups that will also hopefully enable us to address some of their pain points and their needs.
But potentially, how many of those startups do you think you could reach, though, beyond the 500?
Oh, no, the foreign startup is basically the name of the startup. So I think every year we envisage that for each of the programs that we run, there will be 5 to 10 startups per run.
Right.
And we'll be doing 2 runs of those programs. But what I'm talking about is that service offerings could be offered on on-demand basis. So startups could come and approach foreign startup, and then we could then reach out to a bigger pool of startups. Yeah.
Okay, so there's plenty of scope for others
Correct.
as well.
Yes.
Gentlemen, thank you very much for coming
you.
into the studios to talk to us about this. We've been speaking there to Jonathan and Kenneth. Jonathan Lim, he is Director of Global Innovation Network at Enterprise Singapore, as well as Kenneth Low, he's Chief Compliance Officer at Arcadier.